Joan because I worked at the San Francisco Art Institute. I'm a longtime librarian at the San Francisco Art Institute and a longtime member of this club and swimmer from here. And so I knew her in both of those worlds. But this is the swimming world. This is an image of Joan doing, I don't know what swim exactly, but she's out, it looks like a gate because she looks so far out in the middle of nowhere there. And you see this pilot who I think might be Tom Rice, if anybody knows him, on some crappy little, like kickboard. And Joan with that beautiful cap, that beautiful red and white bubble cap. And she grew up near Aquatic Park. She swam down here her whole life. She was part of what is known today as wild swimming. This is her with the painter, wonderful artist Jay DeFeo, her friend, out in Bolinas with Joan's first husband, Bill Brown. Her paintings from that early, she was painting what was close to her and dear to her, which included these early paintings from the early 60s, Moon Casting a Shadow. This painting is 6 feet by 6. These are big. And you can see these at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art right now. And this one, which is the woman who stole our dog from the surf. But she got encouraged to swim in the bay by her third husband, Gordon Cook, who was a rower and a swimmer and also an artist and fellow teacher up at the Art Institute, a printmaker. But she couldn't swim very well. In fact, she kind of sucked. And so she realized, I got to figure out what to do. And so she winds up taking swim lessons with Charlie Saba, who was a legendary swim instructor in San Francisco. And this is a picture of her with that same red and white bubble cap with her coach, Charlie Saba. Bubble cap Charco right here. But we got to get these red and white ones, Charco, because those are such cool looking ones. But you can see her ability to paint water in this picture. Like this is the Larson Pool, and you can see the lane line. So maybe, maybe she wiggled too much even with that lane line in there. And all you local people know that, she took lessons out at Larson Pool then, but it's now known as Charlie Saba Pool out on 19. This image is one that was taken at the Santa Cruz Pier Swim in 1974. And it shows Joan with her back to the camera, sort of. And it also shows her third husband, Gordon Cook. And it shows them getting advice from the legendary one and only George Farnsworth on the right. And the picture was taken by a woman named Joan Leonard. And Joan Leonard was married to Manuel Neary at the time. Neary was Joan's second husband. And Gordon was her third husband. Neary is here in this photograph too with the glasses on, holding George's, Joan's, and Gordon's clothes as they're getting ready to swim. Now, the thing that's fabulous about this picture is you can see Gordon tying on that fluorescent bathing cap there's one in the upstairs in a display case. But it's also, he's going to swim with his glasses on. There are no goggles. And he needed to see, for Christ's sakes. He wanted to make sure he saw that pier. Maybe he was a left breather and realized he needed to see where he was going. But he was going to swim with those glasses on, like some people did in the old days. Joan really got hooked on swimming. And she winds up joining a group of women swimmers who are doing some gate swims. This is their second gate swim in 1974. And it shows Joan finishing at Lime Rock right underneath the North Tower. Now, the pilots for that swim were people from men from the Dolphin Club and the South End Club, but the women could not participate, couldn't take advantage of the facilities. Now, Joan could hang out and take advantage of the social activities at both clubs that Lee can inform us more of before they were members as, spouses, partners, and wives. And they were well aware, but they couldn't use those wooden boats, they couldn't use that gym, they couldn't use the showers. And so consequently, they swam off the beach. And when they would swim off the beach, they'd have to hide their car keys. You guys all remember swimming off those bleachers recently, what you had to do. But they also started fires to warm up. So they were called the fire kickers. I don't think the Park Service would look kindly on that. But she did know of that weight room at the Dolphin Club. And in 1975, she paints it. With that same paneling is in there today when you walk over there. You Dolphin Club members who are multidisciplinary and work out in the gym. And that same paneling's there. I'm not sure that view is exactly like that of the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's a good view, and that carpet remnants, which are no longer there. This is a swim that the women's group did in 1975, which was called the Women's First Annual Alcatraz Swim. And there's Joan seated right here, and listed here as Joan Cook, which is probably pretty unusual. So I wonder who did the labeling for it. But Lee Bender is in this picture, over here. Cecilia's in this picture. We can come back to it, but there are other people.
That's Mary Dake seated.
Oh, Mary Dake is
next to Joan, right there.
right here.
Yep, that's Mary Dake.
Mary Dake. Diane Major was not in this swim, but you know that setup and we're there. This swim was a total train wreck, a total mess. This is the one where it's a summer swim, but still, a freighter goes through this swim. It changed. They had to pause. The currents changed. It was turbulent. The wake of the ship. It was absolutely frightening for everybody. So it generates all these paintings that Joan does, including this one, the night before the Alcatraz swim, which seems to show that paneling again. This one, which is after the Alcatraz swim #1, which shows Joan still warming up, I think, by the fireplace with this great seascape, you know, above. And this one, which is Alcatraz #3. Again, you can see all these in real life, life-size, huge, down at the museum. But this is after the Alcatraz swim #3. And when you see this detail of it, you see what the South End Club really was doing in their helms. You see these wooden boats, you can see everybody getting plucked out of the water, and you can see this freighter on her dress that she paints. This is a group of four of the 6 or 7 plaintiffs who sued the clubs. Lee Bender, Trudy DiLorenzo, Joan, and Mary Day. Wow. Diane Major was the 5th of this group that we could have had.
I also want to mention
Marilyn Rodman.
Marilyn was the one of the plaintiffs, the only one who stuck it out to join the Dolphins. They didn't want us. They said, okay, if we have to take women, we'll take women, but we'll select. They said, we don't want the troublemakers. For some reason. So, the troublemakers were those 4, and then Diane, who didn't come around that much in those days, I guess. And Marilyn, I'm not sure where she was, but Marilyn, I think, is an unsung hero because we got into this club and we said, well, we're in, that's cool, we got one. And Marilyn said, no, the Dolphin Club. They say they don't want me, I'm going to the Dolphin Club.
Wow.
And she continued until she got in. And the semi-tragedy of it was that she then didn't come around that much. Truth be told, I suppose that's true of Marilyn and Diane to some extent. Diane was busy having children and what have you. But Marilyn, I really, really regret that we didn't say to Marilyn, okay, we'll pay your dues in the South End also, because she was numero uno as far as I want to mention that about Marilyn.
Thank you.
The clubs that all 4 of these people had partners or spouses at the 2 clubs. In fact, Joan's husband Gordon Cook was president of the Dolphin Club during this period as well. But so they wind up, I think, and this story gets really complicated, but they wind up deciding to sue. There was a 3rd club down here that was on that side of the Dolphin Club, and it was called the Aerial Club and then the San Francisco Rowing Club. And you can see it in this image from the 1960s. It was at that end. You can see our club, the Elegant Dolphin Club, and the other one. And what happens is that defunct club, then everything applies to all 3 clubs. And so there was no way that the women were going to lose this lawsuit, given this is, city land, public land, 1970s. I mean, it was a thing that had to happen, of course. But these women made it happen. That's 7 people. It took a lot of flack for it. 6 people. Okay. It's complicated. Legal stuff, legal shenanigans. But by by late 1976, women could join. And this generates this article in the San Francisco Examiner, Why Joan Brown Swims in the Bay. And Joan finishing, and Joan, and on the 1st of January, the New Year's Day swim in 1978, which is only a little bit over a year after these women have joined, Joan does the New Year's Day Alcatraz swim, and you guys know it as well as anybody. That is an unpredictable swim because it's on the same date every year. It is cold as can be. This is her finishing with Karen Folger Jacobs from, I think, the South End Club. So this is 1978.
She was a member of Dolphin Club.
She was a member of the Dolphin Club too, right? Joan, after that swim, looking pretty good, looking pretty warm. Maybe it hadn't sunk in yet, the afterdrop hadn't happened. And then Joan with Ira, who's here. But this is before the swim. They're on the boat getting ready to go out for the swim, right, Ira? Okay. Now, I first crossed paths with Joan in the early 80s when I first joined. And we would do we did those swims in the 80s together, the gate and the Alcatraz swims, etc. But this shows the remnants of the run, jump, swim, a true triathlon. You ran out to the intermediate pier, you jumped off, which was the key part of the triathlon, then you swam back into the club. And so in this image, you see a bunch of people are recognizable here, but you do see Joan in the second row next to Lee Bender. And then it got photobombed by a couple of people, including George Farnsworth, who's front and center of those barrel chest.
But Jeff is also in the picture.
Yeah, I'm hiding behind Joan. I'm right here. I remember it distinctly because I remember that towel, and I remember I don't want to be in this. But Joan wasn't the tallest person in the world, so I couldn't hide. But Dominic Spinetta, if any of you know Dominic, Pat Panini, Jimmy Healy, who showed me the club, Father Dulé, who was president of USF at the time. Curly's in here, if you guys know Curly, etc. Rich Frenzel. It was a hell of an event. I would run into Joan. She would swim in late afternoons when I would get off work at the Art Institute. And we'd laugh about the, goofy things up at the school, and she'd tell me good stories about the faculty there. She'd say, "Are those men still up there teaching painting?" And it was just a blast to hear things her interpretation of the place. After she passed away, Trudy DiLorenzo emptied out her locker and gave 2 of her swimsuits to Laura Small, who gave them to me for the archives at the Art Institute. And it seems appropriate for some reason that sort of flotsam and jetsam from the clubs would wash up into her research collections up at the Art Institute. And it is fun to pull them out and show them to people over the years.
Hence the bikinis on them.
Yeah, they're both bikini. Yeah, bikinis.
Both bikinis, hence the bikinis on the swim house.
Oh, exactly. Ah, okay. This is the last image I'll show, which is from 1987. It's done with a print from Magnolia Press, and it's Joan swimming the gate. And you can see the pilot out there, and you can see that beautiful early morning shadow of the North Tower on the headlands too, which is sort of dramatic, but it shows you what a great eye she had for things. She's really important. I mean, all these women who first joined this club and sued the clubs to let women in are really important. This is a sport that's damn near as equal gender-wise as any sport there is. But at that time, it was really being corralled by men. And men weren't, women didn't have access to a place like this to do it. So thank you guys for doing this. And now we'll get Lee and Ira and others.